What's going on, everybody? This is the story of how I took a free Chinese ATV and pulled it out of the bushes and restored it for my son. It's almost Christmas and all the kiddos are in the bed. I'm just sitting out here in the garage vibing. And tonight, I'm gonna see if I can't get this piece of junk running. This is a 70cc kids ATV that hasn't been started in somewhere between 8 to 10 years. It's sat in a garage for some time, but I know for the last 2 to 3 years it's sat out in elements. And it was pretty evident that was the case because I had to clean a rat's nest out of it and blow all the pine needles and leaves off of it. This thing's a scrap pile rescue. It was given to me free because the guy didn't want to do anything with it. I tore this thing apart a couple of weeks ago just to see what it would need, and it needs a lot. Good thing is Chinese ATV parts are super cheap. I'll go into that in a minute. But I got everything I feel like I need to get this thing running tonight. I got a big box of parts. I have some adult beverages. And I have my massive toolbox. Can you see it? It's camo. So a few nights ago, I tore the plastic off of this thing, set off to the side. I'll get that in a minute. But I started trying to diagnose this thing electrically and see what was going on. And this entire harness is trashed. There's pieces of corrosion on different terminals, and I wasn't getting power anywhere when I hooked it to a battery. And so I started looking at individual parts and terminals, and I found out real quick you can get the whole harness for like 40 bucks, the entire harness. On top of that, this is a small ATV, and it came with some sort of a kill switch, so if your kid goes freestyling, you can kill it. And I think that interrupter on this thing is what was causing all these issues, besides the corrosion issues. The new harness right here doesn't have that, so I'm going to eliminate all of that. Also, the fuel tank was cracked on it, so I got a new fuel tank. This thing was like 15 bucks. The air filter had come apart, the factory one. It was all dry rotted, so I got a whole kit that came with a cone style air filter and a brand new carburetor. If you're going to try to fix a Chinese ATV at home, you need to make sure, you see this one uses a cable style for the choke cable. That's what this one had. You want to match that up because your harness is going to come with a new start switch, and you need to make sure that it's got the choke on a cable and not the kind that you reach in and touch it with your finger. This kit also came with fuel lines and a fuel filter. Sweet, right? I got a new throttle cable. The brake system was trashed on this thing. I got a complete master cylinder, hose, pre-bled, caliper, pads, the whole nine. This piece is like 30 bucks. And new headlight and tail lights. The other stuff was dry rotted and trashed. So without further ado, let me start installing some of these parts and see if I can get this thing to breathe fire tonight. So I got a whole harness tore off of it. I got all the brake system tore off of it. All the old crap is going in the garbage can. If you've got one of these ATVs, it seems like that the 50cc, 70cc, 90cc, 110, 125, they're all the same for the wiring harness ignition system. There's only a couple differences. One of the differences is the coils. There's a 6 coil version and there's a 2 coil version. So you got to crack open the side of your engine before you order your harness and find out which version it is. This is a 6 coil, obviously, you see them. The other kind has just got 2 big coils. The other thing you want to do is that the light switch comes with it. Well, it's a combo switch, I guess you can call it. It goes on the handlebars. It's got the start-stop button, the lights, and the kill switch. And you notice this one has a choke. That's what the factory one for this one had. If it doesn't have this choke on it, then you need to use a carburetor that's got the choke on the side, like I said earlier. Those are the main things you need to look at. Everything else seems to be straight bolt-on type stuff, and it should work for you. This kit's pretty complete. It came with everything: the CDI box, the coil. It even come with a spark plug. So this should get me going shortly. So last night I had technical difficulties, both with the wiring harness and with the camera. So now I'm going to show you a brief reenactment of the events that transpired last night. Oh man, plugging in stuff so easy. Look, it just goes right here. Why ain't this long enough? Dang. So if this wire goes here, then this wire. So if this wire goes here, then this wire should go right here. Oh yeah, there we go. Man, why ain't this thing turning over? Dang. Oh, there it goes. Man, why ain't got no spark? Man, none of this makes sense. What? Man, oh, now I got spark. So I found out real quick that this Amazon wiring harness, universal wiring harness, it's universal all right, and it'll work, but it takes a lot of work. So I got everything hooked up as best I could see. It doesn't come with a wiring diagram. And then I couldn't get it to start, or not to start, to turn over. I couldn't get it started and engaged. Now note that this wire here, the one that comes from your starter, that goes all the way over to your starter relay, you have to reuse that. That doesn't come with the harness. Well, like I said, there's no diagram or nothing, so you're over here biting your nails and pulling teeth trying to figure out what's going on. If you don't have a voltmeter and you don't have any electrical experience, I wouldn't attempt it. There's other YouTube videos out there where these guys are rewiring these little Chinese ATVs, and they make it look like cake. And I've been a mechanic for 20 years, and it was very difficult. One of the problems is that you see this coil that the kit comes with? It uses 2 blade terminals, right? That red one, I added it. It came from the factory with one of these on it. Now tell me how I'm supposed to know without ohming everything out and checking voltages and stuff. Would I know that that terminal was supposed to go on that? It wasn't thought out real well, was it? I mean, I guess that's what you get for an entire wiring harness for like 40 bucks. You get what you pay for. And then right here, you see where I got those 2 wires put together with a butt connector? Which actually, no, that's a blade terminal. And that's a poor cramp. I'm going to have to redo that. Anyhow, it had these terminals on it. Now, what I figured out is that goes to a ATV that has a foot brake. And this is the safety switch to make the foot brake, or to make the starter engage, but you got to have the foot brake on. So it's like built into it. But I thought it went to the coil because it's got blade terminals on it. That's not the case. I about screwed up. The long and short of it is that I had to pretty much get my meter out and find out where each wire went, and pretty much kind of draw my own wiring diagram to figure out where everything went. And those are the 2 biggest things I had issues with. Another issue I had is you see where I split this, I had to split this loom right here. This thing, it's like it was cut to go on a different one, a different ATV. It's universal, I guess I get it. But you see I kind of got a bunch of wires going back and forth and then I had to split it because this wire wasn't long enough. There wasn't enough of it out of the loom. But look, it's okay. Everything works on it. I got to do something with the lights because this is harness has provisions for 2 headlights, and this is a 1 headlight ATV. That's little small stuff, but I have fire to the spark plug. I had everything else worked fine, but you had to figure out those little things. I think somebody who doesn't have much electrical experience, this would be super difficult for. Just look right here too. I got the brake master cylinder installed. I got the hose run along with it. It comes down here, and the new caliper. What I ended up having to do is that this bracket came on a new caliper, and it was the wrong pattern, so it wouldn't go on the mount. But all it is swap it out, and I used the mount off the old caliper and put it right on there. And I just rolled it across the floor and squeezed it, and it stops. But now that that's all out of the way, we'll just say let's install some new carburetor action. After I got the carb installed, I noticed I didn't have the air filter on it. Every time it would start up, it would run for 3 seconds and cut off. And I thought there was an issue with the carb because sometimes these Chinesium Jeff Bezos jobs, sometimes they're just not right from the factory. So I ended up cleaning the other carb and putting it on there and replacing the slide in it, and it still did the same thing. And I checked the valves and set the valve lash on it, and it still did the same thing. What it ended up being is a dirt dauber had gone in that hole in the exhaust pipe and built a massive nest in here. So literally when I took this pipe off, it was hissing from all the pressure that was in it. And then all I did is just took my air hose, I took the entire exhaust system off and blowed back through it, and chunks of dirt dauber nests come out. And now it runs great. Watch. Sometimes when you pull junk out of the bushes that's been sitting for years, stuff like that can be the case, and it'll throw you for a loop. Luckily, I got it figured out. Let's take it for a ride. Other than the fact that it don't like my fat ass being on, this thing's running great.
One week later.
I'm gonna call this a success. I got about $200 in this whole setup here, paint and all. My kid really enjoys it. If you like this video, go ahead and hit me with a like. If you're interested in seeing more projects like this, I got a few coming up in 2021, along with all my other nonsense I do. Go ahead and hit me to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me.